it happens sometimes. You're like, you're choreographing something with your fight choreographer, and you're like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Like, oh, it's been done. It was done in that movie. And if it's a really significant moment, you don't want to kind of copy things.
Did you have maybe something you were into when you were younger, or like a film or a stunt that made you want to get into the field in the first place?
I started my career in theatre, and I went to, and I danced and I rode horses, and I used to fight with my brother like every day, so brutally. Like, we would literally try and kill each other on a daily basis. We love each other now, but we would try and kill each other. So, and then he joined the army, and that kind of got me interested in all kind of like actiony kind of jobs. I went to drama school, and at drama school, I really got into sword fighting. And then literally I would spend day in, day out sword fighting, creating fight shows. And then it was a fight director there, amazing guy, John Waller. He said to me, you should be a stunt girl. And I was really into like action movies, like all the old Zorros and all the old Western films, and, Terminator 2, when Terminator 2 came out, and I saw Linda Hamilton, I was like, that's what I want to look like. I want to be like her, So that was kind of where the journey started, really.
And I saw on your Instagram, I think you called this movie Heart of Stone a stunt coordinator's dream job. I'm curious, like what kind of things make it a dream job production?
That is because we have a fantastic script, but reality-based action, and we cover did so many things for real on location. So we did fights, we did car stuff, we were in the snow, we were in Iceland, we were in Portugal doing water stuff and car stuff and lots of wire work. So like explosions, shootouts. So we just there was everything in that movie, and also doing things for real on location, not just on a blue screen. That for us was, very refreshing, and just felt like proper movie making, like that, how we used to do a lot of stunt work for real back in, years ago, or when you do Bond films and things like that. It very much felt like that we were doing a lot of reality based action. So yeah, it was a total dream.
Because I was able to watch it, and I noticed there's just everything. Like, is there a certain aspect of all that you like the most? If it's like skydiving or fights or car chases, like, does something excite you more than others?
Well, I love a good fight. So if I thought the fight sequences were really exciting, and they really drew me in. And then being able to work like with JT Holmes, brilliant JT Holmes, with all of his speed flying stuff, and then doing stuff for real in the Alps in Italy. That was a real highlight. There were so many highlights, but I think, what initially really excited me was the sort of all the fight stuff, particularly the safe house. That was a real, I was like, wow, that's a cool sequence. We're going to have fun with this.
And how much do you look at other films in the sense of like seeing something that's maybe inspiring, but also something you don't want to copy directly? Like, how much do you think about what else is happening?
A lot. I think, you always try and come up with original sequences. I think most big stunts most things have been done in some capacity, right? It's very hard to really find something that no one else has done or achieved, but you can give different angles on it, or, different scenarios. So I think you're always conscious as a creative to not copy, create your own flair. and your own taste of action sequences. Sometimes, I mean, it happens sometimes. You're like, you're choreographing something with your fight choreographer, and you're like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Like, oh, it's been done. It was done in that movie. And if it's a really significant moment, you don't want to kind of copy things, but yeah, it's definitely something we're conscious of to create like original action.
How much are you involved with like finding the line between what is going to be practical and what's going to be filled in with CG or like kind of redone with visual effects? That seems like you must work pretty closely with everyone making those decisions, right?
Absolutely. There's lots of roundtable stuff that happens. Like, we look at previses and storyboards, or we'll come up with our stunt viz. There's a lot of roundtable discussions with all the HODs. Like, okay, what can we physically achieve? What's safe? What's completely not safe or achievable in your schedule, your budget, your all of those, things. So there's lots of discussions and lots of like discussions with the directors, with visual effects. But we would do so much of it. And Tom was very keen on that, so much of the action for real. And then obviously some things, obviously helped enhanced by the VFX department. But yeah, lots of discussions there. But I think this film, more than any film that I have done in a long time, we did, so much was real. It was real,
What does your relationship tend to be with actors? Like, do you you ever have to maybe talk people out of wanting to do their own stunts, or like encourage people? Like, how does that whole relationship work in general?
We do kind of like, actor assessments very early on. So, and that gives me or us a sense of how they can move, how agile they are, how strong they are, what their core strength is like. If they've done like a lot of fight before, or dance or gymnastics, that you'll be able to do a lot more with them.
Yeah.
Other things, have they got previous injuries? Have they, their age, things like that. So those things all factor in. And then obviously the risk level, because obviously insurance, they want the actors to be able to go on to set and do shoot the next day without injuries. So there's a fine line about letting them do as much as they're physically capable of and letting them do as much as you can, because obviously the beauty of that is you can just shoot on them, So the fine line between that and then, okay, this you could really potentially get hurt on. So it's kind of like risk versus reward, right? So what's the reward of doing it with, if it's a very big stunt, what's the reward of doing it with the actor versus the risk? So that's always a question. And if the risk factor goes way high, or they really could potentially, break an arm, break a leg, knock themselves, then you kind of like, okay, well then that's where you put the limits. That's where the stunt double steps in and takes over.
Yeah.
But we had great cast on this, like really all super agile, strong, very, very keen to do, their action.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get actors and they're just not interested at all, or they might be interested, but they know they're physically not capable, and they're like, okay, you can do it.
Right.
So it really varies.
Because you've worked with now a number of people that are doing like Marvel, DC, like Gal Gadot, obviously. I think you worked with Brie Larson as well. Like, do they do more than the typical actor? Because they're also like mega stars, but they must be in like great shape and have so much training with this at this point.
They really do. They're so disciplined. They're like machines in their nutrition, their physical training. So whether that's strength training, Pilates, agility. So they have all of that to do as well as their day's work. They've got all their lines to learn, their scripts to learn, their stunt training to do. So the actors that do these like big action films and all the superhero films, like you take your hat off to them because they work hard. And believe you me, they really work hard. They put the hours in, they put the effort in, and it's grueling. It is grueling. They get, it's the glamour at the end of it, but during the shoot, they work really, really hard. And like our cast on Heart of Stone, they work super hard, and they always kept good humor. Like, how hard they're working, but they always had good humor on set. They were just, a joy.
Is there a specific stunt or sequence in this that you maybe was the hardest, or you were like, I can't believe we're able to actually film this practically?
It was very cool doing all the as I say, the stuff up in the Alps. And I've done, like, I did the vertical limit donkeys years ago, where we were literally choppered up onto Mount Cook every day. We were doing stuff for real up on the mountains. It was like, very exciting, dangerous as all hell, but very exciting. And I did a Bond. We did a snow sequence in Chamonix, again, years ago. And then there was a big period of not using those like fantastic locations. And then so when we got the opportunity to go to the Alps in Italy and, shoot the snow patrol cars, like actually on the slopes, and do all that kind of like speed flying sequence, I think it was like pinching yourself, like, oh my God, look where we are. We're being paid to do this. We're shooting cool action. We get to ski in the morning. Those are like pinch yourself moments, because they don't come along that often with modern movie making, it being in those kind of like extreme but amazing locations.
Is that when she has the parachute? Like, is that, what did you call it? Is it speed?
This is speed flying.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So when she jumped over the balcony and then she slides and she's trying to like, get all the parachute, and then she goes off the mountain, and then, there's the shootout, there's a whole gondola fight. So that was exciting as well, doing the gondola fight. That was cool. That was a cool sequence. It was fun out there. It was cold. It was really cold. It was like night shoots, like -40. It was cold, but it was, that was awesome. And like amazing, had an amazing, like, people from all over the world. It was such an international film, that was very cool. And like, even with us, with the stunt department, it was so international. We had like amazing people from Canada, from the USA, from Portugal, from France, from all over the globe. So that was just, and we were literally like a big family. It was fab. It was really cool.